Hi guys, welcome back to another makeup video. Today we are doing a prom makeup video. I was thinking, as a makeup artist, obviously I do a lot of prom makeups and graduation makeups, and I thought it'd be cool to do a video idea for you guys for if perhaps you want to do your own makeup, or even if you're not really a makeup person but you'd rather do it yourself, you can't afford to hire a makeup artist or you just don't have the time, you just want to save money and use your own products. Whilst technically I'm going against my own work by doing this, I just thought it'd be fun, and I know that definitely if I was going to prom I'd be doing my own makeup because I can, so maybe this is just inspo for prom or even graduation makeups. So everything we're going to use today fits inside this little makeup bag that I've got. But this is the little makeup bag and it has brushes on top. I'm just going to take out the little pouch of brushes, and then this is inside the makeup bag. These are my everyday makeup products. Well, not everyday, but when I do makeup, these are my products that I carry around with me. So please excuse the shadow behind me. The lighting is just very bright, but this is the only way we can do it. I am in a bit of a different location today, as you can see, but we've still got a pretty easy background. For the light coverage natural makeup, I'm going to go in with a little brush and just start brushing out the brows. So I'm going to go in with my Got To Be Brow and Edge Gel. You have to be careful, especially for prom, because a lot of photos will be taken. Do not use too much of this product because it can get a bit crispy and white, but you really don't need a lot. So I'm just going to brush this through my brows. So most important step of all this is we're going to take a primer. I like to use this e.l.f. Paragraph primer. I just think it's really good. As long as you have a primer that feels really sticky on the skin, you should be good. And of course, if you're wanting to test things out for your actual prom makeup, then just make sure that's what you look out for. Make sure you have one that will actually give you the grip you need, because the night you will want your makeup to last the whole night or event. Then to start, I'm going to start with eyes. I like to start with eyes quite a bit. I'm just going to take this Morphe Filter Effect concealer and I'm just going to put it on my eyelids because we haven't done anything with the brows. We haven't carved them out or anything. I'm just going to go straight in like so. And I'm just going to take a nice dense brush and blend that in all over the eyelid. Mostly focusing on the actual eyelid and then blending up any leftover product into the upper brow area. And then now that that's blended in on the eyes, I'm going to take this little brown pencil from Revolution and we're going to do a brown smoky liner. So I'm just going to come in closer to the camera and basically I'm going to use the pencil to sketch out where I want it to be. I'm not going to go too precise just with this pencil because it is a little bit blunt, but we just want to get the colour on, so don't worry about how messy it is. And then I'm just going to use my finger to smudge that because we have lost my one brush, which is fine. So I've just got a bit of a smoky blend. I'm just going to go in with this little palette, which is from Makeup Academy. These are from, you can get these in a drugstore, very cheap. I'm just going to go in with the lightest shade of brown on a little fluffy brush. And now we want to keep this solely to the smoky eye, the eyeliner area. And then I'm just going to take this NYX Lift and Snap Brown eyebrow pen. It's like a liquid liner pen. And I'm going to do my liner using this. So we've already got the shade in on the eye, and then we're just going to go in with this to add the preciseness. And we're going to keep the wing very little and thin like so. And then we are going to bring it into the little cat eye. Like so, but if we go in with concealer or anything, we will have to redo that little bit of liner, but just so that we know that it's going there. We can either stick with it like that, we can add a tiny bit of this powdery colour to the inner lid so that it looks more of a matte look, but I think what we're going to try out today is more of a shimmery look. So I'm going to take one of these sparkles. I think I'm going to take this one because it looks more of like a nighttime shimmer. I'm literally just going to take it on my finger, and these are very pigmented, so you can go as pigmented as you want, as glittery as you want, either way. And I'm basically just going to go in on the inner corner of the eye and blend it in a bit. So I just went off and did the other eye the exact same, and I've got a nice shimmery eye. And then for mascara, I'm going to first off start by curling my lashes because we want nice curled lashes for photos, etc. And obviously you can go in with false lashes or whatever takes your fancy. Today I'm thinking of doing like a brown mascara for a more natural look. So the brown mascara I'm going to take is just the Jason Wu light brown brow mascara, I believe. And this is waterproof, very important, waterproof mascara for prom. Not because necessarily you'll be crying, I mean you might. More so the same principle as weddings. It's waterproof this and waterproof that, just to avoid any mishaps with water or tears. So now eyes are sorted and primer has definitely had enough time to sink in. I'm going to take these Revolution bronzing drops. I love these. Go to just for any makeup, but prom especially, I think these will be amazing, especially for a light coverage makeup. So I'm going to use both glow drops and bronzing drops. So I'm going to start with the glow drops and basically put it all over my face as if it's a foundation almost, but it's not. And so definitely for a more natural look, I would go with glow drops and some kind of concealer instead of a full foundation. Make sure this is blended all over. And then I'm going to take the bronzing drops and basically put them where I'm going to bronze. I'm just going to take this little angle brush and blend that into the skin. I think, I'm not going to lie, I've put too much, but we're just going to work with it and keep blending it. And then on top of those bronzer drops, I'm just taking my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush bronzer. Obviously, this is more of a pricey bronzer. You can use any, but this has been a staple in my makeup bag for ages. And I'm just going to use this to give the bronzing drops a bit more of a set look. We don't want to be a full sunlight beam in the photos. Now, for some blush before we go in with concealer, I'm going to take this Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light wand, and this is like a blush and highlighter in one, and it just comes out on a little pushy bit, and I'm going to stamp this basically where I would put my blush and highlighter, and as you can see it's almost just a rosy shimmery blush. I'm going to pat that in, and I'm just going to switch to my blush brush and blend that right into the skin underneath the wing of the eye. Just going to blend that in for a very glowy, a lot of colour to the face kind of look. And then we're just going to take that same Morphe Filter Effect concealer that we used for the eyelids, and I'm going to do a bit of under eye concealer. Now we're trying to keep this natural, so I'm just going to do a little dot there and do a tiny dot on the wing. I did go a little bit too close to the eyeliner there, but it's fine. Tiny bit on the nose. And you don't have to do this, but I just like to keep it symmetrical and do a little T-zone concealer. And then I'm just going to use my little dense brush to blend out these extra bits that we added. And then I'm going to use the little brush to blend this bit because I accidentally put it too close to the eyeliner. And then to get the best result for a natural under eye concealer, I like to go in with my finger and just blend it as close to the inner corner as I can. And it just gives me a nice warm natural blend without too harsh of a colour. I'm going to take this Revolution Translucent Baking Powder. It's just a loose powder and it's very easy to apply. I'm taking a little triangular powder puff because this way we can really set in the inner corners of the eyes with quite a bit of powder. So I'm just going to take that right in there, and I'm not going to bake it, I'm just going to literally press the powder right in because we really want this makeup to stay on for photos, for the evening, for the whole event. And then for highlight, I'm just taking this little Revolution golden highlighter on a fluffy brush, tapping it off, and I've done this side already, but I've just put a little bit under the brow and down onto the cheek. We don't want it to be absolutely blinding because we want it to still look quite natural, but we want a nice glowy finish. And then I do always like to do a tiny bit on my nose and also the upper lip. Now, lip wise, we can literally do any lip colour we want. For this one, I'm going to do a bit more of a brown one. So I'm just taking this Revolution lip liner. This is in the shade Divine. It's a very light brown. And I just like to blend that into my lip slightly so that we don't just look like we've got a random line. And then to go over the top of this, I'm going to take this clear gloss. This is a pumping lip gloss, I mean. I'm not the biggest fan of this. It does really tingle my lips, so I wouldn't personally recommend this exact product, but then I suppose if you're looking for a plumping lip gloss, it is probably going to tingle your lips a lot. I just feel uncomfortable wearing them, personal preference, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to use this because I think it's probably beneficial for photos, etc. But obviously, if you're like me and you're uncomfortable wearing plumping lip gloss, just don't bother. There's probably much less harsh ones than these. This is just the Beauty Bay one. My mum bought it for me, but it is so strong, I find. It really tingles my lips. I'm not even sure if I get a good plump out of it because I haven't worn it long enough. So we'll see. Just applying that completely over the tops of the lip liner and the lip. Let's make sure our prom makeup lasts all day, all night for photos. I'm going to go in with the Morphe Luminous Setting Spray. This is just the one I use all the time. I find it works perfect. But there are plenty of aerosol, professional grade setting sprays that you can get that will definitely make sure your makeup lasts all night. No matter what, I don't have one on me currently, so we're just going in with this. But this works pretty good too. And whatever you find sets your makeup well, some sort of setting spray. So I'm just gonna, like so, let it dry on the skin. And that is the first prom makeup finished. So we just removed that version of the makeup. So now we're going to go on and do a bit of a full coverage one. I'm going to try to do this one a bit quicker. I think that one took me about 40 minutes, but obviously I was talking through it, so it should only take about half an hour or so. So nice, quick, easy makeup. For this one, we're going to do a bit more of a full-on eyeshadow and a full face of makeup, so let's get straight into it. Personally, I like a nice fluffy brow, but for the sake of this video and a full coverage makeup, I'm going to do more of a filled in one. We're going to take that same Morphe brush that we used in the first clip. Just going to brush through my brows. And we're going to take the other end of it, which is broken, but it's fine, which is just like a crayon-y pencil. We're going to start by underlining the bottom of the brow. I don't tend to wear a full brow very often, but I know this will be good for the nature of a full coverage makeup. And we don't want to be fiddling for too long because the more you fiddle with a brow, the worse it gets, in my opinion. And then we're going to blend it up into the hairs. But once we get to the front, we're going to switch product because I want a few sparse hairs to still be there. And then this is where we're going to switch back to that NYX Lift and Snatch pen that we used for the eyeliner. And I'm just going to draw a few loose hairs at the front of the brow. And then we're going to take the brush end and blend that. And then we're just going to take the Morphe concealer to underline that brow. And we're just going to take a flat brush to carve out the underneath. And this can also then be used as a base for the eyeshadow. Get a nice clean underneath. So we've done a little carve on the top. And I do find sometimes I do make the brow a bit too thick. So we just need to make sure that we're happy with the thickness of that. And then I'm just going to blend that in with that dense brush that we used earlier. So I've just gone off camera and done the other eyebrow the same. And we're just going to blend that concealer up to the middle of the brows so we don't have to go in with any foundation in the middle. And we've got a complete base down on our eyes now, so we can go straight in with eyeshadow. For eyeshadow, I'm going to take that same little MUA Makeup Academy palette just because it's easy to grab. We're going to start with this brown. Obviously, we're sticking with the browns. I think browns you can't lose with. I think you always win with a brown just because it's so versatile and it will go with any sort of dress colour. So we're just going to get in with this. I'm going to start by blending a bit more of a light brown on the wing. And this is more of a soft but full coverage eyeshadow look. And I'm going to take another brush and the darkest shade from that little palette. And this is where we're going to blend into the crease, starting from the lash line. And then in the inner corner of the eye, we're going to go in with this pale shade. And I'm just going to take my finger because it's just, again, easier. And this is going to give it that nice matte look. I'm going to go right in on the inner corner, get that product off my finger, and then blend it into the browns that we've applied. I'm just going to switch to this little thing, which is just a little Revolution eyeshadow palette I have, and instead I'm going to take this little dark shade of brown because it's a bit in between the two that we used, and we're going to use that to sort out this dark patch here. And then I'm just going to take this little black Revolution pencil and we're going to do a bit of a smoky liner again, but on the eyeshadow. So I'm using the pencil just because it'll be easier to get a precise marking of where we want it, and we can just smudge it out with any brush then, because I don't have my little flat brush with me. And we're just going to concentrate on this little wing here. And I don't want to bring it too much on the top of the eye here, but we are just going to take it into the waterline just to make sure we've got that definition around the eye for photos. And then where we've blended that, I'm just going to take my finger, because like we said, don't have the flat brush. I'm going to take a clean finger. I'm just going to slightly blend out that black so it's a bit more of a smoky. And then here we're just going to do a little bit of a drag to make it a bit more sharper. And then I'm just taking that brush with the dark brown on and giving it a little blend into the black so that all the colours go nicely together. Then we are just going to ignore this waterline business. This is obviously just where it's printed from the top, which is why we like to do the eyeshadow before we go in with any skin makeup. So I'm going to clean up the underneath, but we are going to go in with lower lash waterline anyway. Before we do that, I'm going to take a bit of the lighter shimmer just to give eye look a little something in the middle. I'm going to take some of that shimmer and we're just going to do a tiny bit in the centre of this eyeshadow because a good shimmer for prom goes a long way. And then we've just gone and done the other eye off camera, and as you can see, black all over my fingers, but we're just curling the lashes, ready for some black mascara this time. Now for black mascara, I'm going to take the black MAC Stack. This one isn't waterproof, they do a waterproof one, but obviously I'm not actually going to prom, so I'm not worried about how long my mascara lasts me, but black is definitely one that you would rather wear waterproof than brown, because even brown, you can't really see it if it runs, but black you definitely will. And I'm just going to coat my lashes. If I was going to prom, I probably wouldn't wear false lashes. I quite enjoy the look of my natural lashes because I do have quite long lashes. I'm just going to coat them before we go in with any skin makeup, and you can really see why we do eyes first with the mess we've created on the face. And then what I'll do to deal with the fallout is just take a cotton pad and some makeup remover, and we're just going to remove under the base. I'm just going to clean up a tiny bit of the under eye, and we're going to go with skin. So we're going to use the same primer we just used in the first makeup look, and then let's get straight into face makeup. So the foundation we're going to use today is the Revolution Skin Silk, and it's anyway, just spilled foundation down a white top, but we'll ignore that. I'm just going to blend that into my skin. I can't remember what I was saying beforehand, and I just think this is the perfect product for prom makeup and definitely for full coverage skin. And even though it's a serum, it is just very pigmented, I find it's quite full coverage, if you see what I mean. Maybe to some people this wouldn't be full coverage, but definitely to me. I'm going to go in with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. We're just going to go in and bronze over the top of the foundation. And then we're going a bit scary with blush. I'm just taking this little Revolution liquid blush bomb, and we're not going to panic. I did put too much on, but it's completely fine because we're going to put on concealer anyway, and that is going to really tone down the blush we've already put on. You don't necessarily have to go this crazy with the blush. It was a bit of a mistake, but nothing we can't fix. So if you do go a bit heavy, just follow my steps. I'm going to take my Morphe Filter Effect concealer, and I'm basically going to put a nice little triangle in the corner. I'm going to do a nice strip like that to follow the eyeshadow. I'm going to do that on both sides, and this will cover up a lot of that blush once it's being blended a bit up the centre of my face. Yes, I'm just going to take my foundation brush because I like how easily it blends, and it also goes seamlessly into the foundation then. And then the rest I'll just pat in. And then on the edges of the eyes, I like to bring it down a bit and then wing it up. And you can already see how much that has covered the blush and also snatched up that eyeshadow as well, which is exactly what we wanted. And then I'm going to take a little brush to do this inner corner bit. I do normally like a beauty blender up here, but like we said earlier, I just think you get a bit more of a professional look if you really go in with the brushes. And then I'm just taking that Revolution translucent powder. I'm going in on the under eye, patting that product right in so that we set it in place. I'm going to take it on the outer wing. Just make sure we're all set under the eyes especially, and anywhere where personally you know that you might perspire or get oily or the makeup may not sit well. So I'm going to put a tiny bit on my forehead because I do get a bit shiny there. And then basically just where I've not applied any powder because we want to make sure that it lasts all night. For highlighter again, I'm taking the Revolution little gold one. And we're just going to highlight kind of where we blushed. But as you can see, the blush is pretty toned down now. It's very much underneath the skin. And then I just like to do a little bit on the end of my nose, on the bridge, and on my upper lip. And then just to join up the eyeshadow to the under eye, I'm going to take a tiny bit of that light brown shade we used earlier and just bring it in from the liner to the under eye. I don't want to darken up too much, I just want there to be a little bit of a blend on the underneath so it doesn't look like we've just forgotten it. So then last on the list is lips. For lips, I'm going to go with a bit of a pinker lip this time. And this is my go-to favourite all the time. This is the MAC lip liner in the shade Soar. I still like the Revolution ones, but these just glide on much better. It's more of a pencil texture, not dry, but a creamy pencil, whereas I find the Revolution ones are very creamy and you have to go very light-handed or you will push the entire pencil out on your lip, whereas these you can almost draw quite hard because of the velvety, creamy texture of them, but it's still quite solid inside. And then blend that onto my lip. And then finally I'm taking this little Revolution lip gloss, just a normal lip gloss, clear, and putting it over top. I would also do a shimmery one with this, but I don't have one on me. And yeah, I just love a lip liner colour and a lip gloss because it just gives you so much variety of lips. And then we're going to go in with setting spray again. And that is the full Glam prom makeup that I would wear done. So guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this double one. Hopefully it is actually a double one. If not, I'll have edited the intro and it'll be 2 different videos, but you'll see this at the end of the second video probably. But if not, we've put them in together. I hope you all have a lovely prom and graduation season, and I hope that if you are doing your own makeup it goes lovely and it goes well and you feel confident in it. Or I hope that if you're getting your makeup done professionally that you feel confident in it. Don't be afraid to tell your makeup artists what you want to change about the makeup. That's what they're there for. We are not going to be offended, or at least I wouldn't, and most professional level makeup artists wouldn't be offended. It's your day, it's your makeup, it's what you're paying for, it's your face. You've got to wear it, so make sure it's what you want. And don't be afraid to speak up, because I'm sure a lot of makeup artists would rather if you spoke up, let them know that you didn't love the makeup and that you wanted to change a few things, and them change it for you and be happy, and you be happy with it, than you to go home and tell all your friends that you hate the makeup. And don't go to this makeup artist because she doesn't do it right. You have to vocalise what you want, and then in that case you're all fair dues if it's not what you want. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. All my other social medias are linked in the description box below, so if you want to see more content where this came from, then head down there, and I will see you guys back here next week for another video. Thanks for watching guys, bye.